Good morning, team. Good morning, traders. Happy Tuesday. Last day of the month. All right, let's see what we got going on here. Imaginary user, howdy. G-Man, Paul, good morning. Lenka, good morning. All right, imaginary user, I have to ask you. First of all, are you from Texas? Second of all, did you go to Texas A&M? Howdy is definitely a southern thing. And when you live in Texas, usually it means you're an Aggie. Ah, you're from New Zealand. All right, well, never mind. Well, welcome. All right, taking a look today, my game plan that I drew out and shared in the Discord was really to get outside of this range in the gray shaded area, and we've kind of been stuck in that range all day, all night. So this was my thought process. If we get above this point of control level and hold it and retest, then we could be going back up to all-time highs. That is my bullish scenario. If we get below this level and hold it, then we could be going lower. We are rejecting this point of control right now, which I like. That probably would have been kind of the treat of the morning if I was sitting at my computer at 7:50 about 30 minutes ago, but it was also close to the market open, so we'll see. Kind of following along with that game plan, I could definitely see us coming up and grabbing this liquidity, the London high, at like 8:55 and rejecting from there and then continuing down. So that's a possibility. Or if we just open down with some momentum at the open, we could be heading short. If we break below VWAP, that could be an indication to go short. So those are kind of my short scenarios. If we come up and grab this overnight liquidity and drop, I'd be looking for a short. Or if we just open up bearish and get below VWAP, we could be going down. And then bullish scenario, if we come up and grab that liquidity, but we hold, retest, go higher. That's what I'm thinking. Another confluence for if we get that long scenario, this right here is the anchored VWAP from this local high. So if we get above that overnight liquidity, look like we're passing that, and then kind of retest there, that would be the bullish scenario for me. Or if we come up here and we grab that liquidity and we reject, I could see us coming back down to like 725, 700-ish. That's what I'm thinking, guys. Do we have any decision on the government shutdown? Will it affect the market? Honestly, I don't know. I try not to get caught up in all the news stuff and like predicting what it's going to do to the markets. I really just pay attention to when the news is, because then I know it'll add some volatility to the market. But I don't know. I know there's an article that someone shared in our Discord saying that previous government shutdowns have led to a little bit of a dip, but ultimately the market recovered and went up. So yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if it's actually going to shut down. There have definitely been times where they make rumors about it, or they claim that it is going to shut down, and then they come to some agreement and it doesn't get shut down. So Don't know. If someone who's wiser than me on that kind of stuff in the chat, feel free to chime in. But that's the question of the day, isn't it? The looming government shutdown. As far as news today, other than the potential government shutdown, we have JOLTS job openings at 9 and consumer confidence at 9, 10 o'clock Eastern. So 30 minutes after the open, we do have some red folder news coming out. So potential choppiness for the first 30 minutes. We'll see what we get. Other than that, we don't have anything other than Fed speakers and executive orders and stuff like that later. Lion Dynasty, good morning. Rob, good morning. I don't know if anyone else is affected by allergies this time of year, but they've been kicking my butt this last week. So I'm feeling tired. It just kind of sucks my energy out. It's kind of one of those catch-22 things. Like, the weather is finally starting to get nice. So I love being outside. Like outside projects with the yard work and like gardening and just playing outside with my kids. We went to the playground yesterday after school. Like, I love being outside when the weather is finally nice enough for it. But man, that also means that everything is blooming. G-Man's been doped up on allergy meds since August. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of medicine in general. I don't know. It's just always been something I grew up with. Didn't really like taking a bunch of medicine. So the ones that are like the quick fix, like I need an allergy fix now, kind of make me feel drowsy. And then the ones that you take daily, like the 24-hour ones, I don't know. I just don't like taking something every day like that. I should do something though, because instead of taking something, I just let myself suffer. Yeah, my kids have it too. They keep waking up congested. It's no fun. Good, Linka. I'm glad to hear that you're learning. I'm happy to share any knowledge that I have. Definitely not claiming to be an expert, amazing trader, but I've learned a lot in my journey too. And if I'm even just a couple steps ahead of you and I can help carry you along, then I'm happy to help. So feel free to put questions in the chat. So we're sitting right at VWAP and the market is opening in about 2 minutes. So let me get rid of my little squiggly lines. See what we get. See if it holds. This is a low of the day anchored VWAP. And then we're sitting right at the overnight session VWAP. And above us, we have the local high VWAP. So let's see if we get outside of this range. See who wins. G-Man took a long on gold this morning. Someone else took a short on gold. Cool. I haven't really been watching gold much. since a couple days ago. I didn't look at it last night. Let's make it a good day, you guys. All right. Getting a little move up so far at the open. This overnight high, if we do go for the liquidity grab, is right about here. Point of control from overnight is right at value area low. So breaking below that would be decent confirmation or going lower. We got below VWAP. Let's see how this first candle closes. I'm leaning towards shorts, but I definitely don't want to chase this because I could see it coming up and grabbing that overnight liquidity, but obviously could just dump from here because that was a pretty aggressive sell-off in the open. Let's see if we get a little pullback so we can enter a short. Good morning, Yadira. We have our London low here. So far, the high from the New York session open is at 24,830. Yeah, this thing's just going down. Well, maybe now we know how the government shutdown news is going to affect the market. It broke below the low day VWAP. I'm going to enter just a small position short on the momentum and the fact that I was already leaning towards short anyway. Going to put my target at previous day low, which is about 724. I'm not going to give it that much room because it could definitely still pull back. 775 was where I ended up entering. Bottom of my range and a previous day point of control that we have not retested is actually at 700. The overnight low is sitting at 754. Could get a bounce there. It's hovering a little bit at that overnight low. Let's see if it rejects this gray shaded area that I have marked off. Don't want to let it come back up that far. If it comes down to this overnight low at 754, I'll move my stop loss to break even because that could be a spot for it to bounce. And depending on how high it bounces, I don't want to be in it. All right, I'll at least trail to break even. That way, if I'm wrong and it bounces, I'm not in it. I have one set at previous day low and then final target down at close to 700 because that's a point of control from Friday, I think. A couple days ago that hasn't been retested. It's a big high volume node. I could see that being a spot that we come down to. Where is previous day low exactly? 723. All right, it broke down below London low and it's continuing. So feel good about this coming down. Maybe, G-Man. Can't clap yet. We'll see. NQ's falling off a cliff. So in my like game plan that I set out, 700 was my kind of conservative target in my mind, because like I said, there's a point of control that hasn't been retested. Let me take a look at what it actually is. It was right around 700. Turn it on my session volume profile. It'll take a second to load when I'm streaming. But this is the bottom of my high volume node. Really, I could see if this thing continues to be heavy, which it kind of looks like it might. Previous week point of control is in the middle of another high volume node at like 24,623. Potentially could come down there. Looks like it's bouncing though. It might have hit my stop loss. Oh, not yet. It is getting a little bounce at that London low. Trying to reclaim it. Interesting. All right. Let's see what else we get. So yeah, here's that point of control a little below 700 at like 691 that I was talking about as a target. We have about 4 minutes until our 15-minute opening range is set. So let's see what we get there. That looks like it might have just been a mismanagement of my stop loss, honestly. Still feel like it's coming down lower. But we'll wait for a better entry. Don't want to chase it right now. Maverick, I have to tell you, the first thought that went through my head, okay, this is a sign that I'm a mom of little kids, you guys. Have you ever seen Big Hero 6? If you've seen the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. Maverick just said, I closed my trade, satisfied with the trade. Baymax, he always asks, are you satisfied with your care? So when you said satisfied, I'm satisfied. That's what made me think of it. I feel like my brain thinks in like Disney Pixar movie quotes. Two minutes until our opening range is set. As of now, this is the opening range low, but that could change. It came back up to New York anchored VWAP and kind of rejected a little bit. We could potentially use that as our stop loss, the wick above 774. Or we could wait for it to come back up to this VWAP at 24,803. That would be a nice little opportunity to potentially take a short up here. Here's an idea. If we end up getting them back up here. That's a pretty big buy up though. off of this high volume node that I have marked off. This is the 2-minute MB Trader. Good morning. Looking at the 5-minute. Yep, that's a big buy up, you guys. It's at VWAP right now. Let's see if it starts to sell off a little bit. Lots of volume on that candle though. I'm going to take a stab at a short. I'm going to put my stop loss right above that wick. Not give it that much room. See if we get back down. $795.5 is where I entered. If it breaks above VWAP, then who knows? Could be going back up. We do have news in 13 minutes too. Come on, sellers. Show back up. They're thinking about it. There we go. Let's see if we can break outside of this opening range low, which is right here. Break below that, and I think we're gonna make it. Gold is flying. Is it making another all-time high? I feel like that's all it's been doing for like 2 weeks straight now. Are we back below anchored VWAP again? Yep, we are. Looking decent. Shez, you got in short too. Let's go. What was your reasoning? Was it the retest of VWAP? Was that your thought process? I'm going to take one off at previous day low. I could take one off at the opening range low too, but I feel like we're going below that. Cool. Same thought process. I got in one short just at the open, kind of riding momentum, but I trailed my stop loss aggressively because I was kind of chasing it. I didn't get a great entry. So, took my second entry on the retest of VWAP. Kind of chopping a little. Let's get some continuation. Good morning, C. Laporte. Yeah, so my entry, I had a short bias today in general because we were holding below yesterday's point of control and just below a lot of resistance. So I was leaning towards shorts. I got in a short right at the open because we opened up pretty heavy and I was really just riding momentum. Got stopped out at break even on that one. This short was a better entry. It came up and retested VWAP and rejected. So that's why I entered again. Target I have set taking one off at previous day low and then one off a little bit lower. I could even put it at like 690, which is where that point of control is from Friday that I was talking about. But don't want to be too greedy. I put it a little bit above 700 just because, 700 is a round psychological number. I could see that being somewhat of a bounce area. Holy cow. That was a big drop. All right, we're breaking outside of the opening range so far. Let's see if it holds and we continue and this isn't just a fake out. Yeah, you're welcome. Come on, touch it. You know you want to. So that was previous day low. I'm assuming we'll get a little bit of a bounce there. It's just a matter of how big of a bounce. 725-ish is kind of a big level. So my stop loss is in profit at least. So even if it does bounce from here, I'll still be green. But I'm still thinking it'll go lower. I'm going to trail a little bit tighter. Where is New York anchored VWAP? Sitting at like 776. Yeah, I don't know. Could come back up. Out of all the prop firms I use, which one is your favorite? Ooh, that's a good question. I would say I would have to pick two. Lucid and TradeDay. I think Lucid has very fair rules. I like that they don't have an activation fee. I like that they don't have a monthly subscription fee. So a lot of times with prop firms, if you take longer than 30 days to pass an eval, there's like a monthly renewal fee. Lucid doesn't have that. It's also a really fat, like if you trade perfect from the eval to all the way till payout, best case scenario is 5 days. So I really like Lucid and their pricing is very fair. I like TradeDay too because of their daily payouts, no consistency rule, all that stuff is great. They do have a 5-day eval though, so it's a little bit slower to pay out, but once you get past the eval with TradeDay, it's like no handcuffs. You can just trade and take money. It's almost like having a live account pretty much. So those are the two I think I would pick. Tradeify is probably close behind Lucid. They have pretty much identical rules and they've been around a little bit longer. So I know that makes some people feel more comfortable about just having like the history. The only thing that I think puts Lucid a little bit ahead is they don't have that monthly subscription. Tradeify does. I think Lucid is a great option though for beginner traders. Like if you're kind of still getting your feelers out, maybe you've taken a payout or two, but you're not like amazingly profitable and consistent yet. Lucid is pretty easy to get payouts. What do I think of Top Step? I think Top Step's great. I mean, they have obviously an amazing track record. I'm going to go out on a limb. Maybe some people are going to hate me for this, but I don't think they're the best anymore. For their 50K accounts, you end up spending $200 by the time you do the eval plus the activation fee. And then they have stricter rules for payouts. Like you can only take 50% of your account, and then of that you only get paid 90%, and there's a $5,000 max. So I mean, if you're a good consistent trader, that's a lot of hoops you have to jump through, and they're not the cheapest. I think TradeDay honestly is better than Top Step because they're cheaper and they have more relaxed payout rules. That's my opinion though. And TradeDay's been around for a while. They've been around for a little over 5 years. So it's not like they're a new prop firm and you have to be worried about them disappearing anytime soon. All right, so it definitely bounced at that previous day low. So trailing stop loss got hit. Let's see what happens here at VWAP. If we reject here, could possibly look for another short entry. Gonna stay patient though, because it keeps bouncing. In hindsight, probably should have set my full TP down at previous day low because I know that's a big bounce area. I'm trying another short, you guys. It's holding below VWAP for now. Not going to give it much room again. $783. Oh, it's going to come up and stop me out. Alrighty, on to the next. We had news come out. Wonder if that could be part of the reason for the pump. Consumer confidence and job openings came out. All right, so for now, I'm watching. It could still reject VWAP. Gonna watch that. If it breaks above VWAP, then we have our 15-minute opening range high at 831. We can see what happens there. If we don't hold below that level, I could see us coming up to that overnight liquidity at 24,857. So those are a couple levels that I'll be watching. Still looking for possible short entries until we reclaim this point of control level. If that happens, then I'll be switching to longs. Let's see if we get some continuation up here. Our opening range for the 15-minute is 92 points. That's pretty good. Oh, man. Going to try another short. I hope my short bias doesn't kill me today. Sorry, guys. I realized I didn't put it on the screen. But yeah, took another short on that rejection of VWAP. Still gonna target that 700 level. $777.5. Jeez, how many times am I gonna try this stupid short? Maybe I'll get the right one. Come on, go down. C. Laporte, good question. For the prop firms, do you have to pay to use TradingView? There is a workaround. So if you choose to trade with Trade or NinjaTrader, you don't have to pay for TradingView. You can just connect your broker account to TradingView, and the price is included in the price of your account. I personally choose to trade with Project X, and that's not a broker that you can link with TradingView, at least for now. I hope that they change that in the future. So I pay for TradingView. So it depends on who you choose to trade with in your prop firms. Ha, mama, imagine they listen and you go down. If I ask nicely, please, please come lower, hit my target. For live data from TradingView, do you still have to pay? Not if you connect your brokerage account. If you have NinjaTrader or TradeAvate, or there's a couple of other ones. Quant Tower, I think. Whichever ones you can connect to TradingView, the prop firm gives that data to you. Yeah, just CME, Yadira. There we go. There we go. I don't normally trail my stop loss this soon, but I'm going to, just because it keeps bouncing. Honestly, I think my confidence in this short is lacking. I've already tried it, the same trade, like 3 times now. Haven't taken any losses, but it keeps hitting my trailing stop loss. So just letting you guys know my thought process on why I'm going to break even. Because buyers keep buying this thing back up. Sitting at that overnight low, still holding. Come on, let's go. Take some profits, it'll help. I did. Yeah, I typically scale out of my position. So this is a different account that I was trading earlier. So you can see like 151 in that one. So even though it's hitting my trailing stop loss, I did take profits on a couple of them. And then this one, I took some profits already. I don't want partial profits and a trailing stop loss hit though. Come on, go to my target. If it ends up getting down to the bottom of my high volume node around 700-ish and it starts to bounce, I would consider taking a long at that point. Even down to like that 690 level I was sharing with you because of that point of control. But if it keeps going down, this previous week point of control at 623 would be what I would target. Yeah, we have a giveaway. So I'm starting to have, with more viewers on YouTube, come benefits. So people are starting to give me accounts to give away. Every time we get to 100 likes, I'll have a giveaway for you guys. So I haven't looked. I don't know what we're at right now. But if we get those likes up, I have accounts for you guys. Be a good boy and go down. I don't know. This thing keeps holding. So, business lens, to answer your question today, I have a Top 1 Futures 50K account to give away. Top 1 Futures has been awesome. They are starting to make a name for themselves. They're one of the newer prop firms, but they've been really innovative with their accounts that they're putting out. They have fast payouts. They've been good. So that's who we have for the giveaway today if we get to 100 likes. It's still sitting below that anchored VWAP. Is it gonna hold? No, 100 likes. Did I say 200? 100. Oh my gosh, you guys. If this thing ends up continuing down, and that was where my stop loss was, holy cow. It's right at that New York anchored VWAP. Let me put it on this screen too so we can watch it. Set it at the 8:30 candle. It's trying to break above it. Yep. Alrighty. Yep, we're still within the 15-minute range. Let's see what happens at VWAP here. Since it's not, like, buyers are definitely defending this. Holding that previous day low level for sure. So if I'm going to take a short at this point, it kind of looks like it wants to go above VWAP. Maybe back up to the 15-minute opening range, possibly. Or grabbing that overnight liquidity, like I mentioned, at 8:55. That might be the next short opportunity. So we'll be watching for that. Zooming out to the 5-minute, you guys. Holy cow, this is choppy. We had that initial sell-off at the open right here. This big red candle is the opening candle. Since then, lots of chop. No continuation either way. It's holding below VWAP still, but I'm not going to try another short. Buyers keep buying this thing back up. I wouldn't be surprised if it breaks above VWAP for a little bit and grabs some of this overnight liquidity or grabs some higher levels. Stop watching charts and start just listening to what Trump says. I don't know about that. I don't know if we need to listen to what he says or just pay attention to when he's talking. We have our initial balance set in about 10 minutes. He's making an announcement at 10 o'clock Central, so 11 Eastern in about 40 minutes. Is that kind of what price is waiting for? Yeah, refrigerated. It's been growing. I appreciate it. There's the sauce right there. Waffles is dropping some knowledge bombs. Let's see what color tie Trump has on, and then we'll base our trades off of that. We're going short then? This is not financial advice. I feel like I need to put that disclaimer out there. He's not talking right now, is he? It's still in like 40 minutes, right? This thing looks like it wants to break up above VWAP for sure. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting because buyers are holding these levels down here. All right, see you, Laporte. Have a good one. Hopefully we'll see you back soon. Where are we going? There's no reason to enter long until it really gets above any of these levels. I'm not interested in longs anyway. I think short's the way to go, but I've already taken the same idea like 3 times now. Gotta get out of this chop. Yeah, Renzo, he does talk in 30 minutes. I'm guessing that's why the market's kind of not going anywhere. And it could be about the government shutdown. But there's so much going on. It could be about anything. He had a bunch of meetings yesterday about like peace talks and tariffs and all that stuff. Who knows what it's going to be about? Yeah, 722 was a decent level for, it was also the previous day low. Previous day low, previous day high, those are usually big levels where you get bounces off of. And I definitely had a little bit too much of a bearish bias because I only took one off there and had the rest of my stop loss or my profits down at 700. So probably got a little too greedy there. I still think it's going lower though. Initial balance is set in 4 minutes. And as of now, this 722 level is the initial balance low. So if it comes back down there, it could potentially bounce again. Or the bottom of this high volume node, 700-ish. For me, that's a support area that I see. And I like failed auction setup. So a possible setup if we come back down to this initial balance low and maybe come to like the 700. Yeah, Linka, the initial balance is the first 60 minutes of the New York Open, the range of the first 60 minutes. So you look at the candle from 9:30 a.m. Eastern to 10:30 a.m. Eastern, and you mark the high and the low. That's the initial balance. You could also call it the 60-minute opening range. But a lot of people refer to it in resistance. Like if it comes down to this level and buyers buy it back up, you can take a long or a trend continuation. So far the trend for the New York session has been down-ish. I mean, I know we've had a lot of chop, but if it comes down to this level and we get a sell-off and then we kind of like come back up to it and retest and get continuation, you can take that kind of trade too. Yeah. Lots of screaming. Look at that 15-minute, you guys. Lots of wicks. Let's see how this 15-minute candle goes. Are we going to get some continuation up? It's definitely holding that level. I'm going for a long, you guys. 793. See what happens at the opening range high. And then see if it comes all the way back up to that London high at 856. So 831 would be a good spot to scale out. Ultimate target 856 and that London overnight high. I'll take a look, you guys. Unfortunately, I can't change it when I'm already in the stream, but yeah, I'll see what I can do on my settings so it doesn't buffer. Sorry about that, you guys. Oh, Waffles, I love having you in the chat. You're funny. But yeah, go hit that like button, you guys. I appreciate the support. Came back down and retested VWAP. Let's see if it holds. Probably should have waited for this 5-minute candle to close, because for now it's not breaking above VWAP. So I could be wrong on the longs, and we could just be stuck in the chop again. Back to zero. Back to break even. Yep, it's definitely choppy. Waffles, you're bored. Let's look at where the low of day anchored VWAP is. Kind of consolidating between the two right now. All right, Linka, have a good day. Let's see if the initial balance high or low gets retested. Look for some trade opportunities off of there. There she goes. Let's see if it actually holds. H. Santiago, hello. How's it going? So it was kind of chopping between these anchored VWAPs. It's peaked its head above it a little bit, but then came back into the range. So let's see if this one actually holds. This long right here, you guys, was a bad trade. I shouldn't have taken that. I was short bias, should have stayed short. Took a long just because it wasn't continuing lower and it kind of started to break above VWAP. But I wasn't patient and waiting for a 5-minute candle closure above. If I had been zoomed out on the 5-minute, you can see that it just wicked above, but it didn't hold above. So that was a bad trade. Oh, well, good, Alex. Hey, Waffles. Yeah, I did trade with Futures Desk. And I like their rules. I like the fact that you can get to the live brokerage stage really fast and daily payouts and no consistency and all that stuff. I'm not trading with them right now. Just, I think I've shared in the Discord. I had too many different accounts and I was starting to get to where I was over trading and I had to size down a little bit. So that's one of the firms I'm not trading with anymore. And I never got to the payout stage with them. I got to the stage, like I passed the eval and got into the buffer stage and I blew it when I was getting to my $2,000 buffer. So can't give you personal experience with how fast their payouts are. But yeah, their eval stage does take a long time. That's the only downside. But I don't know. I always, maybe just because I'm a business owner, like I always look at it from the business perspective. right after you pass the eval and you get to that $2,000 buffer, they're giving you a live brokerage account, like literally. So they need to really make sure you're a good trader. Whereas most other prop firms, they make you take like 4 to 6 payouts in a sim funded account before they actually give you real money. And the chop continues. Trump talks in 18 minutes. What's he gonna say, you guys? Does anybody know? I need to become a gold trader. The strategy for gold right now is just to enter a long. Just go long on gold. And you'll probably win. I love the commentary on what we think Trump's going to say. Some people don't care. They're just making bets based on the color of the tie. Some people, which I kind of agree, he's going to talk all over the place and be like, we're shutting it down, and then we come to an agreement, and we're opening it back up. We're going to make America great again. It's all lies. All lies. Honestly, I don't care what he says. I just want to see how it affects the market. Yeah, Santiago, I'm kidding. I'm not going to enter a long at all-time highs. Well, is it going to break above VWAP this time? I'd love to see it come back up to this initial balance high or even the overnight high, London high, and reject from there because I still want to take a short. I just feel like it's not going down from here. So maybe it needs to go a little higher first. Yeah, Waffles, I agree. I think it's not going to actually happen. If they shut down, it'll be for a really short period of time and then they'll come to an agreement. Just insert alerts and have some coffee. I'm drinking coffee right now. I'm good. I used to be in sales, so I always heard the term coffee's for closers. But someone came into the chat a couple days ago and asked if all traders drink coffee. And I was like, I had never heard that before. So apparently coffee's for traders too. All right. So now that we're Looking like we want to get above VWAP. Let's see what happens at initial balance high. And possibly London high if we get up here. Traders live on cortisol and caffeine. I feel like that needs to be a shirt. Anyone in the chat make shirts? I would buy one. Have like a logo of a chart on the front so everyone knows that it has to do with like trading of some sort. And then say like, I survive on cortisol and caffeine. Looking at the 5 minute. We still have 2 minutes left on this candle, but it looks like it wants to hold above VWAP. It's wanting to go higher. Oh, that was a pretty big jump up. What we got going on here? Holy cow. All right, let me check financial juice. Does something happen? That came out of nowhere. Target 24,902. Yeah, not a bad target. Value area high from yesterday is 920. We have these wicks over here, if you look left, at like 900. My goodness, that was a big jump up. Oh my gosh, we're just crushing through initial balance high, everything. This green anchored VWAP is from the swing high, the local high. So let's see if we reject from here. Or if this thing continues up. That was a big buy up. I don't think Trump is supposed to speak until 10 minutes from now, 11 o'clock Eastern. I'm definitely not entering a short like now, but we do have quite a bit of resistance overhead before we just continue on up to 900. We have point of control here from yesterday. London high, or the overnight high at 857. Man, you guys, imagine if I didn't have a short bias today. That previous day low, a long from previous day low, would have been a sweet trade. I hope someone in the chat took that trade. Long from 723-ish. I was the dummy trying to take a short the whole time. Well, it's at my little red circle, but there's no sign of sellers like taking this thing down yet, at least. It's holding up here. The positive side, even though I was wrong about short continuation, at least I was managing risk well and trailing my stop loss. So still green, just tiny green. So in my trading plan that I put together last night when I was looking at levels, I was short bias until we break above this 850-ish level. So if we break above London high and it doesn't look like we're going to sell off, we could even come back down to like point of control and retest. That would be a possible long entry that I'd be looking for. But don't want to take a long immediately here because we still could just wick up above, grab the London high liquidity and reject. So that's kind of what I'm watching for. Final TP is 960. Is that previous day high? 975. Yeah. That's the top of my high volume node right there. 961. Hi, Mama. Thanks for looking out. I don't feel like trading live stresses me out necessarily. I think I came into today with looking for shorts. Holding below yesterday's point of control and continuing to reject that all night. I was looking for shorts. And I think I was a little too biased to the shorts because that previous day low level ended up holding. That's all right, though. Like I said, I managed risk well. Still green. Yeah, that London low has been holding. It's also the top of a high volume node on the higher time frame. Yeah, that's honestly one thing that I'm working on in my trading is like I've been putting together these game plans the night before, which I share in my Discord, but like here it is. I kind of say like if then scenarios, like if it holds above this level, I'll be looking for longs. If it holds below this level, I'll be looking for shorts. These are my targets. And putting those together and then like reviewing them the next day has given me a lot of confidence in my levels because I can see that like I draw good levels. I just need to be patient and wait for them to actually hit. There's times when I end up being red on the day, but my levels were right, and it's frustrating. That's just because I wasn't patient and waiting for those levels. So I need to get better at that. All right, it's breaking outside of the initial balance range. Not really getting any continuation yet. Came up to that overnight high and rejected a little bit. Point of control rejected. If I'm going to take a long, I want it to like really reclaim this level. If it starts to sell off from here, it might be a good spot for a short possibility. But gonna stay zoomed out on the 5-minute and give it time to kind of settle, figure out what we want to do from here. Shez is trying the shorts. It didn't quite grab that London high. So I could see it if shorts are the play, which I'm not convinced yet. If it is, I think it could come up a little bit higher. One more bump up before going short, possibly. So far, so good on rejecting that point of control, though. So far, it looks like this 5-minute candle is going to close outside of the initial balance high. Not a good look for shorts. Let's see what happens once we actually break this London high. See if we get strong rejection from there or if we get continuation. Yeah, Hamama, I've done quite a few videos on how I draw my levels. I use the visible range volume profile to find the high volume nodes for the higher time frame support and resistance. That's what these gray shaded areas are. And then all the other ones are pretty easy. I just use the overnight or previous day levels to find London high, low, session volume profile, high, low, all that stuff. This point of control is from yesterday's New York session at 8:44, 8:44. So breaking above that, we're officially at London high. Let's see if it rejects or if we continue. Chichimus, I did have the overnight volume profile drawn up, and it was actually, the point of control was lower. It was around like 770 or 780, something like that. It was down here at the bottom of my high volume node. Maybe it wasn't that low, but it was lower than the New York point of control. Looks like it was probably closer to 800, 24,800. Well, unless this thing gets really heavy really fast, I'm not entering a short. Because it held above initial balance high. It's holding above yesterday's point of control. It's not rejecting at London high. Lots of reasons to think that this is continuing up. There she goes. All right, at this point, looks like we might have even missed the retest of initial balance high for a continuation trade, zooming into the 1 minute. But I wanted to wait for it to grab that London high liquidity first. So at this point, all I can do is wait for a retest of maybe the initial balance high at 8:30ish to enter along. Wait a second, I'm looking at Financial Juice and I just see something at 9:37 Central, so like 25 minutes ago, and it says Trump concluded remarks. Did he talk earlier than he was scheduled to? I'm confused. Why does it say Trump concluded remarks? I don't know. What is the 30-minute time frame looking like? That 30-minute candle broke outside of the initial balance high. Looking decent for continuation. Well, if we can ever find an entry long, this high volume node right here would be a decent spot. Somewhere around 930 to 960-ish as a target. Still hovering around this level. I'm not sure I want to enter a trade right now if there's a chance that Trump is still talking. But again, I don't know if he's already spoken. If there's that note about him concluding remarks. So is he still making another announcement? If anyone knows, let me know. But it makes me nervous entering a trade right now if Trump's going to be making an announcement. There's the rejection from London High. Like 869-ish. But from there, zooming out to the 4-minute or 4-hour, let's look at the hourly, see where this thing might be heading. Yeah, I could see if it breaks above this overnight high, 857, and like holds above that, 920-ish, I think would be a good target. Or even this hourly level right here at like 895, 900. I would probably put my target just under 900 just because, again, that's a round psychological number. I would at least take off some profits there. Zooming into the 2-minute, there's not much of a sell-off from that overnight high level. It's wanting to continue higher, it looks like. All right, so maybe Financial Juice was wrong on the scheduled time. He's already done talking. Good to know. Thanks for looking that up, Alex. Goodness, it is chopping around this level. Look at our VWAPs, you guys. I don't like that it's so flat. Doesn't really give me a lot of confidence that this uptrend is going to continue. And volume has dropped for sure. Check that out. Not great for trading. Were you in a long, I assume, G-Man? Check out how it rejected that standard deviation band. Coming down to VWAP. Are you going to bounce there? All right, so it's rejecting that overnight high, coming back down to initial balance high. Thinking about a short, you guys. Let's see what happens at initial balance high. If we bounce here, we could continue up. If we break below it, could go down. Let's see. Okay, Dave, good to know. So it was a military speech earlier. So he has some other announcement coming. They changed the time. Financial just updated it to noon Eastern Standard Time. Originally, it was 11 o'clock. So we did originally bounce off of the initial balance high a little bit. I think it's my short bias that's making me not want to enter long. If we get back below initial balance, I'm thinking about a short, you guys. I'll let you know if I enter. Just that's kind of what I'm watching for, is see how we hold at this initial balance high. And I'm not saying it's necessarily going to come all the way down to that 700 level I was targeting originally, but we could at least come back down to VWAP. What would the risk to reward look like if we put our stop loss above maybe there? What is our session point of control like? Point of control is down at 766, so we can maybe come down to there. All right, I'm in a short, you guys. 832.5 is where I entered. Gonna watch and see how it reacts at VWAP. If it bounces there, that could be the end of the pullback. Point of control is down at 766. Could come down to there too. Let's see. This is the session anchored VWAP for the New York session. It's 792. And I think the overnight VWAP is a little above. Yeah, 798. Shez, are you still in the chat? Did you get in another short? All right, gonna at least move my stop loss to break even. Let's see what happens at VWAP here. Taking off a little bit at VWAP because that could be a spot where it bounces. Or not. Dang. Initial balance low is here. 766 is what I said for point of control. So we'll take off another one there. Came right to the bottom of my high volume node area. Is it gonna hold that level? It's kind of reclaiming VWAP. Let's see how this 5-minute candle closes. Still 3 minutes left on this 5 minute candle, but if it closes back above VWAP, that could have been the end of the bounce, and then we're continuing up. Or the end of the pullback, I should say, not the end of the bounce. Padawan, I went short because it grabbed this overnight liquidity on the London high and rejected. And I was already leaning towards shorts anyway because there was lots of resistance up here. So once it rejected that London high, got below point of control, and I kind of anticipated it getting back below the initial balance high because my entry was right at the initial balance high. But that's why I took a short. I took off one at VWAP because I could see where if we're continuing up, this is where it's going to bounce. I have another take profit set at the session point of control. And then if this thing stays bearish, it could go all the way down to initial balance low. So I'll be leaving a couple runners. So far, that 5 minute candle is closing above VWAP, but let's see. If this was going to bounce a VWAP, you would have thought it would have done it already, right? I think everyone's scared. They don't know what Trump's about to say. They're like, I got to exit my position right now. Might end up hitting my 24,700 target if this stays heavy like this. There she goes, breaking below VWAP. So this buy order is sitting at the session point of control, and then final TP, I'm going to take it off down here at initial balance low. What's happening with Trump? He's scheduled to make an announcement at noon Eastern, so in about 30 minutes. I have no idea if that's why the sell-off is happening. I just was making a joke. Got that little bounce at point of control. It might, so point of control is kind of a magnet. It might chop around at this level for a little while if it's going to continue down. It also could bounce from here. Who knows? That's why I wanted to take some profit there. Let's draw our session volume profile on here so I don't have to keep flipping back and forth. Where is it? There we go. I don't have the point of control on here. There we go. Bouncing at point of control for now, but we're below VWAP, so I like our chances. You guys hear my dog in the background? Yeah, someone rang my doorbell and he had something to say about that. My dog's actually very friendly, so he probably wants whoever it is to come in and play. Are we gonna reject here? Like I said, it doesn't surprise me that we're chopping around this level. Point of control is just the level that most transactions have happened so far in the session. So buyers and sellers are trying to figure out who's gonna win here. Coming back up to VWAP. Let's see if we reject from here. There are people who are adamant about not moving their stop loss to break even or take profit. They have back tests to support their thesis. Yet I see you turn losers into winners. What's your take? Good question. Yeah, I think it depends on you and your strategy. I think for me, it's not necessarily a lack of confidence in my trade. It's more like, I know for me, I go on tilt if I see large unrealized profits and then it comes back and hits my stop loss. So like if there's the potential that I could have made $500 and then I end up losing $200, that would make me full on go into tilt mode. So it's a little bit of like protection for me. Also, that way if I'm wrong, I at least lock in some profits and I'm fully willing to admit that I'm wrong sometimes. Like here, for example, I was hoping that it would go back to initial balance low and it doesn't look like it is. It's bouncing. But I can still be wrong on my trade and lock in a couple $100 from it. So I don't think there's a wrong or a right way to do it. I think you just have to figure out what works for you. I think those people that have the back testing to prove it, they're just going off of stats. Like if they know this is my setup and I have an X percentage win rate, like 65% of the time I'm going to win, 35% of the time I'm going to lose. And I am okay with that. Then they're confident enough to sit through it because they know 3 or 4 times out of 10, they're going to take a loss. And if you have that much back testing to prove it, you can probably not be that emotional about it and just be like, all right, next. I think for me personally, taking partial profits and trailing my stop loss quickly helps me manage my emotions. So everyone's different. I'm also not afraid to enter the same idea twice. So I can take partial profits on one and then enter the idea again if it like retraces and maybe be right on the next one. So for me, I prefer to protect my profits, I guess. So looking at this session volume profile, we're right at the value area high right now. We also came back up and retested that VWAP, and it looks like we're rejecting. So we'll see if it comes down. My full target is at initial balance low. This bounce right here was at the session value area low. So it'll be interesting to see if we bounce again there or if we continue below it on this move. Yeah, I'm with you, Chichamis. That's kind of what I was saying. Like seeing large unrealized profits and then it comes back and hits my stop loss in the red. That sucks. Like I will full on tilt and blow an account if that happens to me. I'm very aware that that's what my reaction is to those situations. So I would rather finish $0 and be able to step away less frustrated than if I finished red. Where is the 50% mark on the initial balance? That would be a decent thing to be watching. Sitting at 50% right now. That makes sense. A lot of times that's an area that can be support or a good profit target spot. So far, it's continuing back down. Let's see what happens at this value area low around 24,753. Still working its way down. Oh my gosh. This trade is making me want to just close it just because it's taking forever. What time is the giveaway? Good question. We haven't gotten to 100 likes yet. So that's the plan. When we do get to 100 likes, each day that we do, I have giveaways. So there might be days that we don't make it. That's okay. I am doing a giveaway. I know I've said it a couple times. Not today. I said it yesterday. But for my Discord group, I have a Lucid test account, a 50K test account to give away to anyone who purchases an account with my code Krista. Send me a screenshot, and I'm entering you into a drawing for a Lucid test account. We have like 8 people that have entered on that one so far, so your chances of winning are pretty good. A lot better than doing a giveaway on these live streams. And I really like Lucid. That's actually what I'm trading right now. So if you are considering getting an account anyway, use code Krista and send me a screenshot. And that is going to be, it finishes up tonight. So I'll do that drawing on the stream tomorrow. I'll do a duck race for you guys. And there's a couple of you. So every entry gives you, or every purchase, every account gives you an entry. So there's a couple people that are going to have multiple ducks. Like, I don't know which one to cheer for. So point of control shifted a little bit. I'm also on the 5 minute. It's a little more accurate on the 1 minute. So point of control for this session is at 783. Still kind of chopping in that general vicinity, but if it pulls away from it and starts to go lower, we should be good for continuation down. This trade is going to take like an hour to hit, to go anywhere. We're still sitting below VWAP, so I don't see any reason that this thing is just going to like pump from here. But dang, it is not wanting to continue down. We're getting to that area where there's quite a few wicks on that 15-minute time frame. Buyers are still defending this area. I'm torn. Still technically below point of control, below VWAP. Might trail my stop a little tighter. I'm going to set one more limit order at this wick area, which is also the session value area low. Just with the way it's chopping around, who knows if it's going to go all the way down to initial balance low. And then I'll just have two runners. All right, it's making its way back up. Either way, I think this is going to be my last trade because it's obviously getting into the low volume part of the day, and then Trump is scheduled to talk. So low volume plus Trump speaking is not a good combination, you guys. Would not recommend it. Coming back up to view up. All right, I think I'm going to call it a day, you guys. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me. Have a good one, you guys. Take care. Hello.